What if I told you that the healthiest, most productive gardens in the world aren't fed with expensive bottles from the garden center? What if the secret to explosive growth, disease-resistant plants, and soil that gets richer every single season is sitting right in your kitchen, or even in your compost pile? Welcome back to Home Gardener, where we grow smarter, not harder. Today, I'm breaking the silence on something the fertilizer industry doesn't want you to know. You don't need their products. In fact, you can create living, microbially rich fertilizers that outperform anything on store shelves, and they cost you practically nothing. I'm talking about 7 powerful liquid gold recipes that don't just feed your plants, they rebuild your soil from the ground up. These aren't chemical shortcuts, they're living ecosystems in a bottle, packed with billions of beneficial microbes, enzymes, and bioavailable nutrients that transform struggling gardens into thriving food forests. Over the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to make each one, what makes them work at the cellular level, and which plants benefit most from each formula. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete arsenal of regenerative fertilizers that will change the way you garden forever. And wait until you see what number 7 does to tomatoes and peppers. It's almost unfair. Let's dig in. Fertilizer number 1, the Probiotic Milk Elixir, for explosive seedling growth and disease immunity. Young plants are like human infants, vulnerable, rapidly growing, and in desperate need of the right nutrition. This is where most gardeners lose their seedlings to damping off, weak stems, and stunted root development. The Probiotic Milk Elixir changes everything. Here's what you need: raw or whole milk, preferably unpasteurized if you can get it safely, clean water, a spray bottle or watering can. How to make it: mix 1 part milk with 4 parts water. That's it. You now have a living probiotic solution. Why this works: milk is loaded with calcium, magnesium, B vitamins, and amino acids, the exact building blocks young plants need for cell wall development and chlorophyll production. But the real magic is in the lactic acid bacteria. These beneficial microbes colonize leaf surfaces and root zones, creating an invisible shield against fungal pathogens like powdery mildew, blight, and damping off disease.
Research from Cornell University found that milk sprays reduced powdery mildew by up to 90%, rivaling synthetic fungicides. But unlike chemicals, milk actually improves plant immunity over time. How to apply? For seedlings, water directly at the base once every 7 to 10 days. For transplants and young plants, spray the leaves early morning or evening, never in direct sun, or the milk proteins can scorch. Use this consistently through the first 4 to 6 weeks of growth. Best for tomatoes, cucurbits, squash, cucumbers, melons, brassicas, cabbage, broccoli, kale, and all transplanted seedlings. Fertilizer number 2, the Fermented Banana Potassium Booster, for heavy fruiting and flowering. Potassium is the unsung hero of fruit production. It's what makes tomatoes sweet, peppers crispy, and flowers vibrant. Without enough potassium, plants produce small, tasteless fruit and weak stems that can't support heavy yields. Most gardeners buy expensive potash fertilizers. You're going to ferment banana peels instead. Ingredients: 5 to 6 overripe bananas or a large jar of banana peels, brown sugar or molasses, equal weight to bananas, and a sealable container. How to make it? Chop the bananas or peels into small pieces. Layer them in your container, alternating with brown sugar or molasses. Seal tightly and leave in a cool, dark place for 2 to 3 weeks, stirring every few days. The sugar pulls moisture from the bananas and initiates anaerobic fermentation. What you'll get is a dark, syrupy liquid that smells sweet and slightly fermented, like a mild vinegar. After 2 to 3 weeks, strain the liquid through cheesecloth or a fine mesh. The science behind it: bananas contain around 12% potassium by dry weight, more than most commercial fertilizers. But fermentation does something chemical fertilizers can't. It breaks down complex organic molecules into immediately bioavailable forms. The lactobacilli and yeasts that develop during fermentation produce enzymes that pre-digest the nutrients, making them instantly usable by plant roots.
Plus, you get trace minerals like manganese, phosphorus, and calcium that banana peels naturally contain. How to use? Dilute 1 part banana liquid to 20 parts water, 1:20 ratio. Use as a soil drench every 10 to 14 days during flowering and fruiting stages for tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, flowering annuals like zinnias, marigolds, and sunflowers, and all fruiting trees and shrubs. Fertilizer number 3, the living biochar microbial tea for permanent soil transformation. This is the fertilizer that changes your soil forever. Most fertilizers feed your plants for a few weeks. Biochar feeds your soil for centuries. Ingredients: hardwood charcoal, not briquettes, pure lump charcoal only. Finished compost or worm castings. Unsulfured molasses. Dechlorinated water, rainwater or tap water left out 24 hours. 5-liter bottles or buckets. How to make it. Crush your charcoal into pea-sized pieces using a hammer or heavy object. The more surface area, the better. Fill your bottles about 1/4 full with crushed charcoal. Add 2 generous handfuls of finished compost or worm castings. This is your microbial inoculant. Add 2 to 3 tablespoons of molasses. Then fill the bottle with dechlorinated water, leaving about 2 inches of headspace. Cap loosely or poke a small hole in the lid. Gas will build up as microbes multiply. Shake vigorously and set aside for 24 to 48 hours. Why this is revolutionary? Biochar is charcoal that's been inoculated with beneficial organisms. Its porous structure creates a permanent habitat for billions of bacteria, fungi, and protozoa. A single gram of activated biochar can have a surface area equivalent to a football field. When you add biochar to soil, it holds nutrients like a sponge, preventing leaching, improves water retention by up to 18%, sequesters carbon for hundreds of years, provides permanent housing for beneficial microbes, balances soil pH naturally. Studies in Amazonian terra preta soils, which contain ancient biochar, show fertility levels that are still 10 times higher than surrounding soils, 2,000 years later. How to use. After 24 to 48 hours, dilute 1 bottle into a 10-liter bucket of water. Apply as a soil drench to beds, around trees, or to potted plants. The charcoal particles will settle into your soil and create a permanent microbial ecosystem. Use this when establishing new beds, transplanting, or rehabilitating depleted soil. Best for? Every plant benefits, but this is especially powerful for perennials, fruit trees, and long-term garden beds where you want to build fertility that lasts decades. Fertilizer number 4, enzyme-rich rice water, for robust root development and soil biology. In Asian agriculture, rice water has been used for centuries as a growth stimulant. Modern science is finally catching up to ancient wisdom. What you need? 1 cup of uncooked rice, white or brown, 4 to 5 cups of water. How to make it? Rinse your rice briefly, don't wash away all the starch, that's what we want. Place it in a container and add the water. Let it soak for 30 to 45 minutes, swirling occasionally. The water will turn cloudy white. Strain out the rice, use it for cooking, and keep the starchy water. For even more powerful results, let this rice water ferment for 3 to 5 days at room temperature. It will develop a slightly sour smell and become even more potent. The science. Rice water is loaded with starch, vitamins, especially B vitamins, minerals, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and amino acids. When fermented, it becomes a probiotic powerhouse, developing lactobacillus bacteria that improve soil microbiology. The starches act as a carbon source for beneficial soil bacteria, causing rapid microbial multiplication. Studies show that rice water application increases beneficial bacteria populations by 300 to 500% within just 2 weeks. How to use. Fresh rice water can be applied at full strength as a root drench. Fermented rice water should be diluted 1 to 10 with water. Use weekly during active growth periods, especially for leafy greens, lettuce, spinach, kale, herbs, seedlings of all types, and ornamental plants. Also excellent for houseplants. Fertilizer number 5, activated potato mineral extract for deep root stimulation and phosphorus boost. Potatoes are underground nutrient factories. They concentrate minerals from deep in the soil profile, especially phosphorus and potassium, which are critical for root development and energy transfer in plants. Ingredients: 4 to 5 medium potatoes, 1 tablespoon sea salt or Celtic salt, 2 cups finished compost, 10 liters dechlorinated water, cheesecloth or mesh bag. How to make it: grate or finely chop the potatoes, skin on for maximum minerals. Mix thoroughly with the sea salt and compost. The salt helps break down cell walls and extract minerals while providing trace elements like magnesium and iodine. Place this mixture into your cheesecloth or mesh bag. Add a clean stone to weigh it down. Submerge it in your 10 liters of water in a bucket or container. Cover loosely and place in a shaded area. Let it ferment for 7 to 5 days, stirring or agitating daily. The liquid will darken and develop a rich, earthy smell. After a week, remove the bag and squeeze out excess liquid. Why it works: potatoes contain high levels of phosphorus and potassium, the pK in NPK fertilizer ratios. Phosphorus is essential for root development, flowering, and fruiting. It's also the energy currency of plants, required for photosynthesis and ATP production. The fermentation process, combined with salt and compost microbes, breaks down complex organic phosphorus into orthophosphate, the form plants can actually absorb. This makes homemade potato extract more bioavailable than many synthetic phosphorus fertilizers, which can bind with soil minerals and become unavailable to plants. How to use: dilute 1 to 10 with water, 1 liter extract to 10 liters water. Apply as a soil drench every 14 days during transplanting, flowering, and early fruit development. Best for root vegetables, carrots, beets, radishes, flowering plants, and any plants transitioning from vegetative to flowering/fruiting stage. Fertilizer number 7, Yeast-Activated Growth Accelerator for rapid vegetative growth and B vitamin boost. Yeast isn't just for bread, it's a biological rocket fuel for plants. What you need: 2 tablespoons active dry yeast, about 20 grams, 1 tablespoon sugar, white or brown, and 1 liter lukewarm water, around 95 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit or 35 to 40 degrees Celsius. How to make it: dissolve the sugar in the lukewarm water first. Add the yeast and stir gently. Cover the container, keep out UV light, it kills yeast cells, and let it sit for 30 to 40 minutes. You'll see the mixture become foamy and active. This is the yeast multiplying rapidly, producing enzymes, amino acids, and B vitamins. When applied to soil, yeast stimulates both plant roots and soil microbes. It promotes vigorous root hair development, which increases nutrient uptake capacity by up to 400%. The B vitamins act as cofactors in photosynthesis and energy metabolism. Research from agricultural universities in Eastern Europe has shown that yeast applications increase overall plant biomass by 15 to 30% compared to unfed controls. How to use: dilute the activated yeast mixture 1 to 10, 1 liter yeast solution to 10 liters water. Water plants at the root zone. Use every 10 to 14 days during vegetative growth stages. Apply in the morning or evening, never in hot midday sun, as heat can kill the beneficial organisms. Best for fast-growing vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, leafy greens, and any plants you want to push for rapid vegetative growth before flowering. Fertilizer number 7, the Comfrey-nettle Herbal Infusion, the ultimate dynamic accumulator fertilizer. This is the fertilizer I promised would blow your mind, especially for tomatoes and peppers. I call it Liquid Garden Gold, and it's been used by organic farmers for generations. What you need: fresh comfrey leaves, 2 to 3 large handfuls, or dried comfrey; fresh nettle leaves, 2 handfuls, or dried nettle; 10 liters of dechlorinated water; a bucket with a loose-fitting lid. Optional medicinal additions: yarrow leaves, immune stimulant for plants; horsetail, high in silica, strengthens cell walls; dandelion leaves, micronutrient-rich. How to make it: roughly chop the comfrey and nettle leaves. Place them in your bucket and add the water. If using optional herbs, add them now as well. Cover loosely and place in a shaded area. Let this brew ferment for 2 to 4 weeks, stirring every few days. Warning: this will smell pretty bad during fermentation, like rotten vegetation. That's normal. After 2 to 4 weeks, strain out the plant material. What you're left with is a dark, concentrated nutrient tea. Why this is extraordinary? Comfrey and nettle are what permaculturists call dynamic accumulators. Plants with incredibly deep root systems, comfrey roots can go down 10 feet, that mine minerals from deep subsoil and concentrate them in their leaves. Comfrey contains potassium levels higher than most commercial fertilizers, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, trace minerals like boron, copper, zinc, manganese, allantoin, a compound that accelerates cell division. Nettle brings high nitrogen content, more than most green manures, iron, magnesium, silica, natural chlorophyll precursors that deepen leaf color, and sulfur, essential for disease resistance. Together, they create a balanced NPK profile, roughly 3 to 1 to 4, with a complete micronutrient spectrum. Trials in UK organic gardens showed that Comfrey-nettle tea increased tomato yields by 35% and improved fruit flavor scores compared to synthetic fertilizers. If you add the optional medicinal herbs, yarrow contains sulfur and plant hormones that trigger systemic disease resistance. Horsetail is 10 to 25% silica, which strengthens plant cell walls and makes leaves more resistant to sucking insects and fungal penetration. Dandelion accumulates copper, which activates enzymes in disease defense pathways. How to use: this is concentrated. Dilute 1 to 15 with water, 1 liter tea to 15 liters water. It can also be used as a foliar spray at 1 to 20 dilution. Spray early morning or late evening. Use every 7 to 10 days during peak growing season. You'll notice deeper green foliage, thicker stems, and dramatically improved fruit set within 2 weeks. Best for tomatoes, peppers, brassicas, squash, cucumbers, and any heavy-feeding annual vegetables. Also phenomenal for roses and flowering perennials. Bonus: oat water for gentle seedling care. Before we wrap up, here's one more quick recipe that's perfect for the most delicate seedlings. Soak 1 cup of rolled oats in 4 cups of water for 4 to 6 hours. Strain and use the water at full strength as a gentle root drench. Oats release beta-glucans, immune-stimulating compounds, phosphorus, potassium, and trace minerals like manganese. The water has a mild, nourishing effect that won't burn tender roots. Perfect for baby greens, microgreens, and any newly germinated seedlings in their first 2 weeks of life. Closing. There you have it. 7 living liquid fertilizers that will revolutionize your garden without spending a cent on bottles from the store. Here's what I want you to remember. Gardening isn't about products, it's about processes. It's about understanding that a healthy garden is a living ecosystem, not a factory floor. When you feed your soil with these probiotic, enzyme-rich, nutrient-dense teas, you're not just fertilizing, you're inoculating, you're building, you're creating a self-sustaining system that gets better every single season. These aren't shortcuts, they're upgrades. Start with one, master it, then add another. Within a growing season, you'll have a fertility system that rivals any commercial farm, and your plants will thank you with yields you didn't think were possible in a home garden. If you found value in this video, do me a favor. Subscribe to Home Gardener, hit that notification bell, and share this with one person who's still buying expensive fertilizers they don't need. Let's build a community of gardeners who grow with nature, not against it. And if you try any of these recipes, drop a comment below and let me know how it goes. I read every single one. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and remember, the best fertilizer is always knowledge. See you in the garden.